Hello, welcome to the first episode of BelkIoT Podcast. IoT Everything with me, Sai Prakash Belkeri. Okay, in this first episode, as I promised, let's start with what is IoT. By the end of this episode, you should be able to answer that question. And if you already know that, I assure you that you'll be left with an all new perspective of looking at it. So, let's get started. IoT or Internet of Things. The name itself is pretty much self-descriptory. It says it is Internet of Things, and you already know what Internet is. Internet essentially connects two different devices, no matter how far they are placed on this earth, and then they can share information. But what are these things are? To define these things, I can say every animate and inanimate things around us are things in context to IoT. And each of these things have one or more states associated with it. What does that mean? For example, let's assume a car is our thing. So the possible states of this car is it's either running or it is stopped. If its fuel tank is full or it is empty. These are the states of that particular car. And other example here could be, your coffee cup or your tea cup, in which the temperature of that coffee or tea could be your state. All these states give us some useful data or information. So if there was a possibility that we can harness this data and use it, we will be able to do a lot of things. It would actually open up a whole world of opportunities. But how? You'll be able to answer that question for yourself in a while. For that, let me give you an analogy about how IoT works and what is it. So, imagine this IoT as a human body. How do we function? We basically have five different sensors across our body. What are they? They help us feel, smell, taste, see, and hear. Essentially, they are the ones that connect us with the outer world and help us gather the information. Isn't that? There's a other system too. That is our hands, our legs. Our hands help us do some stuff. Legs to walk or kick someone. No, no, you gotta kick the ball. Essentially, these are the ones that are helping us perform some action on the outer world. Now, how are these two different systems working together? Right, the nervous system, transporting the signals across through the brain, all over the body, and sending the right signals to the right place. It is the brain that is the powerhouse of processing. That is it. That is what IoT is on a broader level. IoT is also similar to this. We have sensors that gather the data from the physical world. We have internet that transport the data from one place to another place. And on the other end, we have the technical term is actuators, which perform some action on the outer world based on the data it has received. Or sometimes it might just be to store the data to analyze it later, like your brain is currently listening to this podcast. It stores it and then processes it later. That is it. That is what IoT is. Now, to give you a much more better picture, let me explain you with a classical example that I always give. Imagine you had a tough day at office today and you managed to complete all the work. Now you're planning to leave home. You looked at your smartwatch and signaled your car to get ready. Your car gets activated. Vroom. It navigates itself from the parking lot to the entrance of your office. While it is on its way, it cares a lot about you. It knows that you're tired. So it has already turned on the AC for you, and your favorite playlist is ready to be played on the music system. While it does all this, it also contacts your smart home to talk to your refrigerator to check if all the ingredients are available to prepare your favorite dish. The refrigerator tells the car that there are three main ingredients that are not available with it right now. So your car checks for the nearest favorite store on your way to home. The car is at the entrance now. You get into the car. The car asks you if you want to go and buy those things at that store. You say yes. It adds that location to your navigation and You head towards the store, buy the required things, and you're heading back home now. Now, while you are nearby your home, your car again talks to your smart home, asks your AC to turn on, sets your lights up as per your mood, turns on your auto cooking system. By the time you're home, half of your work is already done. That will be pretty interesting and fascinating to have it, isn't it? I hope you felt like Tony Stark imagining all these things in your mind. Yes, all of that is no more limited only to a sci fi movie. It is a living reality and will be evolving into more beautiful dimensions soon. Now, if you have observed keenly all these devices in the previous example, like the car, the refrigerator, AC, light bulbs, are all our so-called quote unquote things. And this system of things working together over internet is called Internet of Things. This previous example that I just gave was an example of home automation and smart cars. No, but IoT is not just relevant to home automation or consumer electronics, or popularly known as Consumer IoT. But there is an enterprise version of it too, and as you might have guessed it, it is called Enterprise IoT. And all these notions like industrial automation, Industry 4.0, smart manufacturing, which are one and the same but are called in different names in different countries. Just to illustrate one more example, let me this time give it on the enterprise IoT. Imagine a factory plant where each and every asset on the shop floor has different kind of sensors to monitor the temperature, current, its vibrations, and if it's a compressor, then we might also measure pressure and so on. There are many parameters that we can measure on for each single machine. Monitoring these will help the factory management to plan their production cycles, and also based on the data we collected from each machine, we can also get the insights about the health of any particular machine. I am currently working on a similar project where we will be predicting the possible failure of a machine well ahead of time so that they can send the machine to maintenance much before the loss is occurred, and can run the backup machines, hence reducing the unplanned downtimes and resulting in better productivity. Now, all this data can also be aggregated in such a fashion to generate reports in order to provide a reference to the senior management of the factory to plan for their further investments or expansions of their business. That was an example of enterprise IoT in manufacturing domain. Isn't that interesting? That just excites me very much that I cannot wait to see the whole world where each and everything is IoTified. How much better and productive our lives would become with this. Just imagine. I have such many examples and just can go on with them for days together. I'll make sure I'll bring in all those examples whenever possible in further episodes. Now, note that I haven't used much technical jargons of IoT just to keep it simple, but over time we will get the pace understanding all the nuances of IoT. I hope now you will be able to answer the question, what is IoT? There is no single definition for IoT because everyone has defined it in their own way and it is still evolving. But I'm sure all those definitions will together boil down to the points that I've just covered. I hope now you will be able to answer the question, what is IoT? Alright, that brings us to the end of this episode. I hope that was informative and simple to understand. If you have any further questions or comments, you can tweet them to me at the rate BelkIoT, BelkIoT, or log on to our website at belkiot.in and send us a message from the messaging section of the website, and I'll get back to you. Thanks for listening and stay awesome as always.